This video will contain major spoilers for Jedi Survivor, so if you have not played the game or if you have not yet completed the story mode yet, I recommend skipping this video until you actually do so, because I'm mainly going to be talking about the story here. Jedi Survivor is a much darker installment in this Jedi series, where the first game mainly dealt with trauma from all the characters from when they were children in the past. This game takes a much darker approach, and that is such a cool way to do a sequel, because during this time period, it's set at like a decade after the Clone Wars have ended. It takes place around the same time as the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, which I actually kind of like. They don't really, I guess they do mention, they don't really mention the show, but they have the hidden past, which is from the show, which I like. They're expanding on that. And during this time period, it's a very dark time. It's the dark times. And so the characters are much more darker. Cal is a much more jaded character than we last saw him in Fallen Order, and I like that. It's probably his best portrayal in, so far. I just like the way how he's portrayed, how the galaxy has shaped him to be more jaded and being more, just more of a, you could say, dark side user, not a Sith, but more just doing more dark things. There's several points in the game where you do stuff that is pretty dark. You kill people straight up like the villains. In the first game, I don't think you kill any major villains. You kind of just push them away or other people kill them. But in this game, you pretty much kill all the major villains in the game, which is really cruel the way they do it, but at the same time it's cool to see how this game has progressed, where the team behind this game is more willing to be more dark. The T rating of this game is actually earned, rather than the first game where it felt like it was just there for maturity sake. But I should get into the story now. So this takes place 5 years after the first game, and Cal is constantly fighting the Empire. And one thing I like about this game is that the whole separation with the Mantis crew. Now, I didn't like that at first, but as the game went on, it did become clear why they split up. Now, they don't actually say why, which I would like to, but I understand why, because it's mainly doing with context clues. Cal is someone that wants to constantly fight the Empire. I feel like we all forget that Cal was just a kid when he was during the Clone Wars, and so all he knew was fighting, and that he is just a weapon. And that's all he does. And so now, when he's, an adult now, that's what he's doing. He's constantly fighting the Empire. We first see him with Saw Gerrera's group. We don't see him in the game, but it's actually that he accepted that request that Saw Gerrera gave him during the first game. That was pretty cool there. Nice continuation of that. And I like how we were on Coruscant. Granted, the whole thing about Coruscant is cool. It's a great way to start the game off. And we meet, our new crew. They all quickly die off except for Bode. I like Bode. He's my new favorite character, and I'll explain why in a little bit. But we meet Bode. He's a pretty cool dude. You get to realize why Cal could be in the wrong for what he's doing, because Cal is constantly fighting the Empire, and Cal does realize that he is constantly doubting himself if he's making an impact in the galaxy or the Empire. Because he isn't really doing much. Nothing's really changing. And it does kind of affect him. And that does set him on the quest to reach a planet called Tanalorr, which is basically a planet that's outside the Empire's reach. It takes a hell of a lot to get to it. You spend the whole game getting to that point to get to Tanalorr. But in the meantime, you go to Jeddah, and you get to meet up with Seer, and you get to meet up with another person I thought was dead, which is Kadova. I think is how you say his name. The person who was originally BD1's owner. I thought he died, but nope, he's alive. Been alive the whole entire time. Also, Marin is there as well, which is great. Also, they're a couple now, I think, which is great to see. I know a lot of people want that. They shipped them. I kind of do as well. And they kiss a couple times. That's fantastic to watch. Great development for both those characters. Everyone brings their A game to this. And with that being said, the whole Jeddah part, when you're going to these, all the Empire-related stuff on Jeddah, I thought that was a waste of time until a certain point in the game, which I'll discuss later, because we're bringing everything together. But the reason why you're on Jedha is because you have these compasses or devices that Cordova needs to fix. And so you're kind of doing busy stuff while he's fixing those, kind of extending the game out, which is fine. It does make sense for that, but for those parts of the game where you're on Jedha, it does feel a bit fillery, but looking back, that was when I first played the game, but looking back on it, it does make sense. Everything comes together at the end of the story, which I love that. I love everything came together. And I should talk about the guy who was in a tank for 200 years, and for the life of me, I cannot remember his name, and I feel so bad. I feel such a stupid, because I should know his name, but I don't, because he's so forgettable, and it's such a shame. It's such a wasted opportunity, but I still like the character. I forget his name. It starts with a D. I forget. The main villain. Well, I don't even say him main villain. I guess he's a main villain. I mean, I forget his name, and I feel so bad, because, he's such an interesting character, but it's just, there is no clear motivation for him. When I was playing the game, I was like, what is his main goal? What does he want to do with Tanalorr? Why does he want to get to Tanalorr? And it isn't really explored. Now, I do like him as a character, because he's a guy from the High Republic era, who is looking at the future, and he's like, oh, the Empire, this feeble thing, how did the Jedi Order get killed off by this? And it's such a fascinating thing, and even though there's a small part of the game, that's such an interesting thing that this guy brings, and he does get killed in a pretty satisfying way. The thing is that he is built up with this other character. His name starts with an S. Like I said, I don't remember these names, and I know I feel so bad, because I should. And like I said, you do defeat him in a pretty satisfying way, while Cal turns himself into a woman and just sticks a lightsaber up his heart and dead. Also, I like how the majority of the story he just had one arm, and he never got another robotic arm, which is kind of cool. I guess he doesn't know about that, or I guess doesn't care to, but that was pretty cool. I do like the character overall, but it's just a wasted opportunity. Don't really know his motivation except going to Tanalorr, and that's about it. I think he was just portrayed by the Jedi Council at the time. Now he wants revenge to go to Tanalorr and to prove them right, to start a new Jedi Order. That's why I'm going with. I think it's what it is. I could be wrong on that, because that's not really explained upon all that much, but I think it's what it is. I could be wrong on that. Comment down below if that's right or wrong. So everything after that is actually A tier Star Wars for me, because when Bode showed his true colors during that cutscene where he pointed the blaster at Cordova, that moment is when I realized this game is great. Because before that I was like, it's a good story. It doesn't live up to Fallen Order. Well, I'm wrong. This does live up to Fallen Order. It actually succeeds it greatly, But you can say, where would that lie in my rankings then? Because I do like this game, but does it stand with the greatest stories ever? Is this video game story better than the films or the shows, because that's actually a real question, because I thought this game could have ended 2 to 3 times. There was 3 endings to this game. Like I said, Darth Vader shows up, and it's not like what it was in the first game, where it was a major event. Not real. I mean, it is sort of an event. You do get to play as Seer. That is a cool sequence, but to me it was kind of just okay, is this an action sequence? Darth Vader showing up is kind of a tradition now. Okay, he does what he does. It was a cool scene, and that was it. He doesn't really show up again. I guess I could wrap things up by saying all the characters are great. It's a great continuation. Not only is this game better than Fallen Order by gameplay wise, but story wise, it's insane. And I will definitely be replaying this game, down the road, after I've already played everything I wanted to. In the aftermath, you could say. This game is great. Honestly, you should buy it. I know the PC port of the game is not good when it comes to performance, but if you're getting this on console, you can have a great time. I experienced no issues, except for maybe stuttering when the cutscenes begin, but other than that, where do I put this in my rankings then? Jedi Survivor goes above The Mandalorian Season 2, but below Andor Season 1. Like I said, when Bode betrayed everyone, that was when I realized this game goes in the 13th spot. It just immediately went up there. I was like, oh my god, everything makes sense now. The story with its 2 plots just came together at that moment. and everything after it just made me, validize this spot. So that's why it's there. Do you agree or disagree with what I have to say about Jedi Survivor? Where do you put it in your own rankings? Comment down below, because I'm gonna go now. If you guys enjoyed, hit the like button, subscribe. I'm going, so goodbye everyone.